So, question regarding my wife and brother-in-law. They're both tough, strong, and full of potential. They've been training within the last couple of years to squat at their affiliated gyms, but both have struggled with proper form, and I think it is limiting their ability to improve. I've tried my best to instruct them using your resources, but I must admit I'm not the best teacher and appear to only be increasing their frustration. You need to see Patrick Bateman. He's obviously the expert here. Now, all right. The problem is not being able to drop. The problem they're both having is not being able to drop their hips to or below parallel without falling over backwards, coming up off the heels and onto their toes, or leaning their chest way down and forward over their toes, which is artificial depth anyway, as the hips don't follow. I've tried different stance widths, made sure the knees were pushed out over the feet, even tried the verbal cues. But the result is the same, and they're convinced it's a genetic predisposition or infallible lack of flexibility. That's probably not the right word, infallible. What can I do to help them find the proper squat position at the bottom, get them lifting heavy weights? All right, Robert, here's the deal. If you'll remember, I taught you to squat by shoving your ass up out of the bottom. You have to get into a position that you can shove your ass up out of the bottom with the bar over the middle of the foot. Now, if they're falling over backwards, this means that the center of mass of the lifter barbell system is behind the middle of the foot. And that means that they have to lean over more. All right, it's a back angle issue. Now, if you've got it in their position that you're saying that's artificially deep, they're bending their back. They're rounding their back into flexion in order to get their chest down. The back has to stay in extension, but it has to be in extension at sufficiently horizontal an angle that the hips are driving the movement and not the knees. A vertical back throws the work onto the knees. A more horizontal back throws the work onto the hips, and we want the hips working because they're bigger muscles. So we have to get a hip-dominant squat. So sometimes it's very important to get a person into a position where they can work on their balance while not falling down. So what I have used in the past is a very you just need to usually do this once, and it is a position that I use to hold a person in position so they don't fall down while they're learning to find the balance. So I'll stand right behind them, and I'll put my shin, essentially, my knee, right at about, probably 3 inches behind their heels. And then I'll have them squat down and let them lean back into my leg, into my blocked position there, as they figure out how to get into an extended back position with a horizontal back angle. And it may take a couple of minutes for them to get down in the bottom and get comfortable with shoving their knees out, lifting the chest, but keeping the back angle more vertical. And if you'll provide this position for them to experiment with how to move their chest, all this other stuff, without falling down, then have them squat back up. Once you're satisfied with that bottom position, have them squat back up, driving the hips first. Have them squat back down, block them again. Don't take as long this time. And by the third or fourth time they squat down, they ought to be able to stay in balance in this position. So give some version of that a try. And I think you'll find that helps quite a bit.